Okay, so couple things here. If you're highlighting, highlight property tax. I specifically like to highlight just to know if you flip through this during exam review, you know that we've actually talked about it, right? And then what kind of cost is this? It's an ongoing. It's not a one-time. We have a lot of one-times examples in this booklet, but not a lot of ongoing. Okay, so make sure you follow that. Make sure you follow, guys. Okay, for this. Property tax is composed of two subdivisions. There's education and municipal taxes. Okay, I think everybody can imagine what education taxes will go towards, right? It basically pays for the entire education system, the busing, the teachers, all the staff, in fact, administrators, secretaries, bus drivers, right? Everybody, like maintenance. There's like tons of maintenance people in a building like this. Costs a lot of money to maintain all that. That is what education, the education portion goes towards. So how about we just have a little, right? Staff, maintenance, busing, etc. What about municipal? The municipal part of your property taxes. What do you think that's going to go towards? I don't know if you're familiar, but there are a lot municipalities are like sections. Even within the city, there are certain municipalities. So that money goes towards road maintenance. You can road maintenance. What else? The equipment itself, infrastructure, repairs. You know, when they repair your sidewalks or a whole street, they like what was it? Mountain was like closed for a long time. That's a lot of money. You know the main reason why construction takes so long, because of all the permits and inspections that each stage needs, and because there's tons of work underneath that you don't see. Cables, sewer, all these things that are under the road. That's why it takes so long. They can't just like dig the place up and then pave it. Like, what if there's a gas line under that? What if you burst it? Like, it's a big liability thing. So they don't know always what's underneath it. So they have to have people come through, and they have these maps, and it's like, okay, there's shock cables going here. There's the sewer going this way. There's drain, right? Did you know that there's storm drains and sewer? They don't, most of the newer parts of the city, they don't mix. Older parts of the city, the sewer mixes with the rainwater. Like if it rains, it mixes. And that's why a lot of times the treatment plants in the southern end of the city, they get overwhelmed and they release raw sewage into the river because they just can't keep up with it. Yeah. They always say it was at a safe level, which I'm like, it was it. But yeah, that's one I think. The newer parts of the city have sewer, so when you flush your toilets and all that nasty stuff, that is separate from the storm drains. So when you walk around, you see these ponds. That's basically just a drainage system. Like all the water that when it rains or melts, the snow melts, it goes into that pond. That pond is usually connected to many other ponds. You just don't see it. There's a map. They have a map. They're like, this drains into this, which drains into that. So there's a way to kind of catch that water. And you don't want that in the sewer because it overwhelms the treatment plants, right? I don't know if you know, they're all over the city, but anyways, that's another story for another day. So actually, I'm going to say, though, water treatment goes in there too. Okay. Waste collection, like the garbage collection system, that also goes in there. the mayor and all of the people that run the city, they all get paid with that money. Right? It literally comes from municipal taxes. Okay, property taxes are calculated based on 45% of property taxes are calculated based on 45% of the entire property, building, and lot. So they don't tax you on the entire value of your home. They only tax 45%, right? Like based on 45% of the value of your home. This is, I'm not making this up. This is exactly what the city does. The value that remains is referred to as portioned assessment. Portioned assessment. Assessment. Okay, portioned assessment. So the portion assessment or the portion assessed value is literally the value of your home or condo, right? Times 45% as a decimal is 0.45. So this, I will box this in because you need to have this on your study sheet. It's not on the formula sheet, so you must add this. So if it ever asks for what's the portion assessed value, there it is. What makes up your property taxes? Here it is again. Education tax. Sometimes there are two education taxes. I don't know why, but sometimes I'm sure there's different accounts. They go towards different things. Education taxes support the various school divisions, right? And there's something called the mill rate that you need to make sure you understand. Highlight that part. The mill rate for education taxes is not the same as the municipal taxes. Okay. So these are making up. So municipal taxes support municipalities. Municipalities is a city, town, or district with a degree of self-governance. Municipal taxes consist of, right? So this is highlight worthy. Municipal taxes consist of general municipal tax and local improvement taxes. Tax, 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 right? That's the theme here. And so local improvement taxes, these are based on the cost of improvements and your, highlight this. When it comes to local improvements, it's based on your frontage. What is frontage? What is frontage? It's the width of the front of your property. So if they're building a new sidewalk on your street and your area, the wider your property, the more taxes you're gonna pay. Everybody pays for that. Did you know it's not free? Like your bill will actually have like new sidewalk, and it might not be on your street. It might be somewhere in your neighborhood, and everybody chips in for that. So this is how local improvements are calculated, right? So local improvement tax is the frontage, so how wide your property is, times the cost of improvement per foot of property frontage. And you're probably thinking, what is that? That's gibberish. Can I ask you to just quickly grab your pink chart, and I will get you to go straight to the back of this pink handout. And there it says big local improvement costs for property tax credits. This is straight from their website. Look, the source is stated right here. These amounts change every year, by the way, so this might be a little dated. But if you have asphalt surfacing roadways, so sometimes they just pour a thin layer of asphalt on top of a road just to seal cracks and stuff like that, but it would cost $26, $22. That's the cost per frontage foot per year. And you're like, what? So let's say this is what they charge you, $26, $22, and your property is 50 feet wide. They would go that times 50, and so you would be paying that much extra that year. on your bill, which is, oh, I got that wrong. It's 26, right? 26, 22. Oh no, I got it right. So the wider your property, the more you pay. So if somebody has a 40-foot property, they would pay less, right? And so the newer houses, the properties get smaller and smaller. I don't know if you noticed that. It's like the older properties are a little bit, and then it depends on which area of the city you are. Like inner city, north end, a lot of the properties are like 20, 25 feet, right? So, and there's a historic component to that. Did you know that there was a time that you could not vote if the width of your property was below a certain width? So they excluded a whole bunch of people that lived in the maybe poorer neighborhoods. Like you can't vote because your property isn't wide enough. It's like, what? Like it doesn't even make sense. So that was a way to discriminate. And that's a whole nother, I don't know all the details, but that's a fact. If you want the local improvements chart, this is another cool one here. I encourage you to scan this if you ever, you can also just Google it. I'm just going to use my iPad here real quick. We're going to play with this a little bit because I think it's pretty cool. So I'm just going to scan that real quick. Yeah, takes me there. So it takes you, you can just like go property assessment Winnipeg or something like that. And you can search up your property, like your house, if you want to do that later. But I'm going to do Sisler. I'm going to put in Sisler's ad. So Sisler is what, 1360? 1360. And then name only. You put in Redwood. Search. And this is what comes up for that. It's exempt from taxation because, hey, we're a school, right? But look at what the assessed value is of this property. So the entire, like the field and everything in the building, it's just over 9 million. But let me tell you something, that's not true. That's probably less than what it actually is. Based on the market, it could be that this whole thing is worth 12 million. We don't know. But the city kind of keeps somewhat track of it. It says that it's on 9.1 acres. Look at the frontage of Sisler, almost 800 feet wide, which is crazy if you think about it. Medium traffic, external corner, there's a bus route there. So they keep track of that. But this is where it gets cooler. If you want to spy on your neighbors, you click on property map. And if you live somewhere close to Sisler, we can find out exactly. So you just zoom out like that. You just zoom out. And you can pick any property you want. I need to zoom in, I guess. Let me zoom in. Because it will start showing all the properties. So if you're on Boyd here, isn't that kind of creepy? So like it tells you all the houses and what they're worth, so you can kind of see like which one is the highest property, right? So these are all in the same neighborhood, but there is the one here that's worth 305. You see it? Let's go spy on that property. And it gives you more details when it's a house. It tells you this living area. You can do this if you're planning on buying a house. I would do this. I would look it up. So it's a one-story basement, yes. Basement finished, yes. Can I say something about that? Some people don't disclose that their basement is finished. Why? The reason why is because if your basement is finished, it's worth more. Which means that the city will say, oh, your house is worth more. So you get more taxes. So what I would say is don't lie about it. You might save here and there, but even your insurance, if your house burns down, heaven forbid, and they find out, it's like, wait a minute, you said your basement wasn't finished, yet it was finished. So we're not going to cover it now because it's not, you lied about it. So you didn't pay enough coverage for insurance, right? So you don't want to lie about it. Year built, 1954. Air conditioning, yes. Fireplace, no. Attached garage, no. Detached garage, yes, so you can tell that this property has a garage, it's just not attached. No pool, so that's a bummer, right? Frontage, what is? Frontage is 50 feet, so the property is 50 feet wide. So that's pretty cool. And if you want to go anywhere in the city, you can go like to Portage and Main and those tall buildings there. Let's see. Let's see, Aberdeen. Let's go downtown. Logan, Notre Dame, Provence. Here, Portage and Main right here. I'm just having some fun with this. I don't. Oh, there. This is where what the tallest building is, isn't it? 50 million, right? So it kind of breaks it down. Maybe there's two high rises in that property, so combined, though, it's 50 million. So this city, can you imagine the taxes they get off of these tall buildings? Can you imagine? Like, we are a joke. Like, each homeowner, we're a joke compared to these big ones, right? So the tax comes mainly probably from downtown. Like, the biggest income, it comes from downtown. And then some other, like, obviously they want from everyone. So guess what, guys? How do you think the city makes more money? Houses or condos and high rises? High rises, because guess what? You have like 50 condos and one on one property that each owner has to pay taxes. Whereas if there's just one house on that property, it's just one tax. So that's why the city actually promotes vertical development now. They don't want horizontal because we're running out of property, right? So they want to go up, not sideways, which is amazing for them, right? Anyways, so now you know. You Google if you ever forget. I mean, you're gonna have this booklet for the rest of your lives, I'm sure. Right next to your right bedside, just to. What was property taxes again? Forgot. I'm just kidding. You would probably check it, and I don't blame you. Um, let's go to 67. That's why this book is so thick. This is exactly what a property tax bill looks like, except for it's like colorful. It's like blue and red and pink. I can probably show you mine later on. But watch this. It's broken down into school taxes and municipal taxes, right? Those are the main chunks. And watch here, local improvements right here. These are the improvements. So municipal taxes has the general municipal tax, and then it has the improvements listed. So there are a whackload of improvements in this property here. Can I just get you to highlight something? Do you see any credits? Probably not, because this isn't the. Yep. Yeah, so there's a credit there. Bingo, we take that off. I don't know where the discount comes from, to be honest, but maybe they figured out they overcharged last year. And so now they're like, hey, you get a discount. Yeah. Yes. See the downtown when they have the nice lights, they charge for that. So we're like, oh, that's so nice. It's free. It's not free. You know, the city workers that take 5 hours to hang something that should take an hour, we're paying for it. And then there's another tax down here, credit down here. So sometimes I will write down credit. So credit means you get a discount. So there's one way up here, and then there's another credit down here. By the way, the Pallister government wanted to slowly get rid of the school division tax over years. And I don't know what's going to happen with the new government. And I honestly don't know why they're doing it. Because guess what? The money's still coming from somewhere. But if they said no more school taxes, look at this property would save $1,100 a year. Yeah. And The reason why they were doing that is because some people were like, well, I don't have kids anymore. My kids don't go to school. Why am I paying for schools? Right? Well, because guess what? Like, we need education. It's to your benefit, right? For there to be education. Guess what? Property taxes are due on September 30th each year. I will say one more thing. This is for you for life. I will add something to the bottom of this. You can enroll, write this down on page 67. You can enroll in the TIPS program. It allows you to pay monthly. So can you imagine getting a $4,000 bill at the end of, like, in June? You usually get these sent out in June. It's like, what? $4,000? I'm in the TIPS program. It's something installment payment plan or something. Tax installment payment plan or something like that. And then you pay monthly, and I never worry about it. It just automatically comes out of my account. My dad is different. My dad's like, nope, I just wait for the bill and I go pay it all at once. Right? It's like, so everybody's different, but I don't like surprises. I don't like a bill like that to show up in June. It ruins my summer, right? So I'm in the TIPS program. Yeah. They charge you a little bit, maybe $50 extra, because it's interest, right, basically, but I'm okay with that. Okay, calculating property taxes. So this is where the rubber meets the road kind of thing. This is where we're gonna start doing math, okay? So go to 68. That's where, if you were sleeping till now you have to wake up. Property taxes are calculated based on mill rates. Make sure you highlight mill rates, because that's where this is different. What's a mill rate? Mill represents like 1 out of 1,000. Basically, that's what you need to highlight. A mill rate is telling you like how many dollars for per $1,000 you're paying. Okay, so that would be 1 mill rate. So if it's a mill rate of 2, then it'll be $2 for every 1,000. Yes, exactly. How many millimeters in a meter, right? 1,000. Yeah. So this is not going to be found anywhere on any formula sheet or anything like that. And quite frankly, you have to make it a lot smaller if you want to fit this on your study sheet. But this is your property tax template, how you find it every time. So make sure you go to that part. And I will just say this. Grab the pink one that I used earlier. Make sure that if there are any credits that you need to make sure you subtract, right? Subtract if present. Make sure you add that. Subtract any credits if they're present. Okay? And so portion assessed value is equal to the assessed value, like what your value is worth, times 0.45. Watch this. I'm going to grab an orange one. And I'm going to make sure you highlight this. Only if portion assessed value is not provided. Make sure you understand that, because some students, they'll just take whatever I give them. Oh, times 0.45. Let's go, right? Only if the portion assessed is not provided. Right? If it's not provided, then you have to do this part. If the question says this is the portion assessed value, don't bother, right? Don't bother with this step. You just go to this, to this, to this. So portion assessment times education, right? To get the education taxes, You take that portion assessed value times the municipal mill rate, any frontage times any improvement, and then these three would be essentially added here minus any credits. So how about we do this? 1, 2, 3, and then we go 1, 2, 3, right? These are the three components that you later on add together. And then you get your total net property taxes. So I will also do this, watch. Portion assessment. Portion assessment. So you use the portion assessment to figure out your education and your municipal taxes. And you're looking up here now, right? You will only do the times 0.45 if they give you the entire property, like entire value. If they give you the portion, if it says portion assessment, you kind of omit that step and just use it here and here, okay? All right, let's do one. Let's do a question here. Come with me to 69 here. And I gotta get set up here because my booklet always wants to slide off the edge here. Okay. The Adebio family owns a home with a portion, what's this? Portion assessed value of $138,250. What does this tell us? It's already been determined. So the actual value is more, correct? The actual value of the home is way more than that, because this is just under half of what the property actually is. So maybe I'll make a note. This is 45% of the entire value. Looks like chicken scratch, sorry about that. This is 45% of the entire value, so no need to do the 0.45 step. The municipal mill rate. The municipal mill rate is this many mills. The education mill rate is that many mills. So mills is just a unit we use for mill rate. Don't let that, it's always going to be mills, by the way. The property has a frontage, highlight that with a different color maybe, a frontage of 60 feet. You know why you're going to need that. You're going to need this for improvements, if there are any. The family is charged a local improvement tax for road oiling and lane lighting. Say what? I'll show you in a bit. And there's a credit. I like to use pink. There's a credit for $750. There isn't always a credit, but quite often there is. Can we do road oiling and lane lighting as well in green? So the green kind of takes care of the improvements. The orange is kind of where we're going to calculate the taxes, like for those two components. And then the credit is kind of what I'm going to subtract at the end. So I'm just going to do this one example, and then we'll probably be done for today. I will ask you to try one more right away. Determine the education taxes. So I'm going to go ed taxes. I'm going to take the 138,250, okay? And I'm going to multiply that by the mill rate. Which mill rate am I going to use for the education taxes? This one, yes. 15, and use all decimals. Don't drop anything. And what am I going to put down here? 1,000. So this one goes here. A lot of students forget to divide by 1,000, in which case your number is going to be ridiculously high. So you should know, it's like, wait a minute, this can't be. So grab your calculator, 138,250 times 15.462 divided by 1,000. It is very similar to the mortgage payment, right? If you think about it, it's a rate per 1,000. So you get 2137.62. 2137.62. That's per year. That's for the entire year. Okay. On education alone. All right. Next, the municipal taxes that are due. So you go municipal tax. What do you start with? 138,250, right? It's based on the portioned assessment. And then we go times, we need a mill rate. That's right, 11.415. So a mill rate is literally saying that for every $1,000 worth of property, you're going to pay $11.415. Okay. And so whenever you hear on the radio, like usually at around, like when it's budget time, they talk about mill rates. I've heard it on the radio. So this times 11.415 divided by 1,000, and that is 1578. Oops, I didn't divide by 1,000, did I? There, 1578.12. So these are essentially the components, the basic components of your property tax bill. But I just remembered, I'm going to say plus improvements. Can we add that here to B? So we're going to do the municipal taxes and any improvements that were made. So improvements, we have road oiling. You know, when the roads get kind of squeaky, they just put some oil in it. I'm just kidding. I don't know what I'm talking about here. So you go 60 feet times, that's for road oiling. And what else am I, lane lighting. So I'm guessing if they have to replace the lighting in your area or something, you know, the nice purple ones they put in. Have you seen those? Yeah, that is actually wasn't supposed to happen, but they're going to keep them anyways. So you take your frontage and you multiply it by a rate. Okay, so I'm going to let you write that down and then grab your pink sheet. And I want you to go find those numbers yourselves because that's how learning happens, right? So I'm going to look at the chart and make sure I get it right as well. So I'm going to go find road oiling. Find it. You got it? $8, right? We're going to figure out what that is. And what about lane lighting? $1.80, right? $1.80. Not too bad. You do that, and then you go 60 times 8. That's $480 for road oiling. I'll tell you in a bit what my theory is on that one. 60 times 1.8. Sorry. You see the mistake, right? That's why I like these calculators. Yeah. I went 6. So it's supposed to be 60 times 1.8. 108. Okay. So we're going to kind of get our small little subtotal here. So I'm going to go 1578, 12 plus 480 plus 108. So that's 2166.12. This would be considered the municipal taxes, including the improvements, right? So I'm going to kind of box this in here. So municipal plus the improvements. So maybe I'll put down here improvements. And now it's asking for the total net property taxes for the family. So how much will the bill be? Just give me the bill already, right? So total, we will go 2137.62 plus 2166.12. And don't forget about this one. So we added A and B basically. This is A, this is B. You have to subtract credit. So the credit was 750 bucks. And here I'm going to come up with my total. 2137.62 plus 2166.12 minus 750. So I'm going to take the calculator away in a bit. 35.53.74. I'm just going to check real quick if. Yeah. So I will say you try at least one page 70. I will give you a warning already. The main difference is that 70, it gives you the entire value of the entire property. Okay, so you have to figure out what 45% of that is. Okay, because once you have the 45%, guys, then you can just you plug it in here, right? And over here for education, like these, you need to figure out the portioned assessment. I will post that and more so you can check. Yeah. Sure. Everybody got this one? 68, yeah. Here you go. That part. Okay.